Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading Warbreaker for the first time. Each episode we will summarize what we've read while discussing the experience along the way.
This is Warbreaker Breakdown, and today we discuss chapters 12 through 17.
Chapters 12 through 17!
Discussion. We had a nice, healthy amount of things happening in this segment, yeah?
Yes, it's all moving. I'm liking the pacing.
I agree very much so. And in many ways, I think I had mentioned this possibly in the first Warbreaker episode, but it is proving to be true. A lot of the characters, the main characters, I mean, in this book seem to be, I think, some of his most dynamic characters. Is dynamic the right word? I mean, they've got a lot of circumstances that they are dealing with. A lot of not just heavy things, but things working on several different axes. Does that make sense?
Not just... Yeah, I see what you mean, what you're saying, but I didn't feel that. I think they're just as dynamic as all of the others. That's what I'm feeling. I guess I'm so easily pleased with the characterizations. Just thinking of, Vin is one of my favorite characters.
Vin is great.
And she's pretty dynamic as well. I don't know. I can see what you mean, what you're conveying, that they've got a lot going on, but it feels like that happens with the others, for me.
I'm not trying to suggest it doesn't with them. I guess considering how little of this book we've actually read, that Sanderson is so efficient with it is noteworthy here. There was one specific standout conversation that I went back and reread like 4 times simply from enjoyment. We'll get to that one when we get to it. I bet you can already tell which one it is.
I'm actually not sure. There's a few.
Excellent. Do you have anything you want to say before we just get straight into it?
No, we need to get into it for me.
Sounds good. We'll start with 12 then. I've got the summary I wrote all prepped and ready. Lightsong listens to petitions. He dreamt of war again, which concerns him. A woman approaches with her baby who suffers from a terminal illness. She begs Lightsong to heal the baby. To do so would be for Lightsong to give his life for the child. He does not acquiesce. Enraged, he sends all of the petitioners away. Each one would have a similar plea. Larimar tries to comfort Lightsong, claiming that he offers them hope. Lightsong believes the gods who haven't given their breath are selfish. He ruminates on how frustrating it is to work so hard at being seen as useless, only for everyone to end up thinking how good and important he is. Lightsong asks Larimar about the point of their religion. What good is it to be a god if you can only heal one person? Larimar explains that the returned aren't meant to stay, they come back with a purpose to fulfill, but it's forgotten in the process of returning, and the petitions are designed to help him remember. The conversation turns to the Queen, though neither can decipher what the architects of the treaty had been thinking at the time it was made. Lightsong decides to speak with Blushweaver. And then it goes to a quick Siri POV. She sits in the bedchamber, realizing that she's been going about things incorrectly, and it's time for her to stop being afraid. In this chapter, we get very viscerally why Lightsong is so averse to petitions.
I can understand it. It was way worse than I thought. I did not have any theory of how bad it could be. Petitions. I thought it was going to be maybe something like the art sort of thing where you giving auguries and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This was way worse. Like, that is hundreds of people in dire need, and you reject them.
Yeah.
Daily. Yeah, weekly, whatever. Even so, one session is horrible.
Yeah. Like you, I had imagined it to be something a bit more bureaucratic or, my family is starving. We need some money. please donate to our cause, any number of things more or less within his power to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also wonder, why don't any of the gods, if they feel bad, Lightsong in particular, do things that might be able to alleviate some of these issues? Like, why can't Lightsong organize a charity or something like that? I mean, surely that would help him feel a little better.
Yeah, something. Why can't it be a normal petition, actually, where they try and help people out? It's always a petition of give your life for mine.
Yeah.
Or for this one, for this child. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to go full Sparrow, in reference to the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones, why couldn't, because at the start of this chapter, he's like, I can't even get dressed by myself because these outfits are so intricate. Why don't you say, take this cloth and donate it to homeless or something like that?
Yeah.
He could easily, I think, considering what is supposedly at his command, do something like that.
But the system isn't shaped that way. That's not how it is designed. Therefore, it's out of the realm of possibility. I wonder if there have been people that tried it, and then the priests kind of don't let them, while at the same time never completely denying what the god wants. We've seen this kind of thing where they just maneuver instead of actually refusing things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also worth noting that as he's doing these petitions, he's dreamed again of the city burning. Yeah?
Mm. Yeah. And he's just trying to push it off. No, it's just how stressed I am as my own worries. But we have this coupled with the idea that he has come back for a purpose.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't that related then?
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if we are approaching his purpose. And as Larimar explains it later on, when you come back, your memories are lost on the iridescent waves or something to that effect. So I feel as if what Larimar says is true, more or less, I feel like these dreams are supposedly those memories or important bits of information coming back to them.
Yeah, manifestations of knowledge of something. They don't have to be literal, visions of, yeah, but it's got to do with his purpose. I feel like the words that you said there, like if the priests or Larimar is right, more or less, I feel like there is some truth underneath what these priests are doing that has been lost in time. Yeah.
I agree. I do very much feel like we are getting a larger view of how things are and why they are as they are, which I appreciated through that conversation. But we'll go into that conversation, I guess, in more depth in a little bit. But I think ultimately, Kitty, you and I have both kind of locked into this idea that whatever Lightsong's purpose is, the dream is
related somehow. Save the city, Lightsong.
Yeah. Lightsong does order the petitioners be allowed to sit and wait. So again, we've got Lightsong being a conscientious fellow.
Yeah, in spite of himself. Yep. And like, I'm saying in spite of himself, like he tries to think that he's just useless and doesn't do anything nice or whatever. But you can see it just comes naturally to him that he's like, oh, they're standing in the sun and oh, they should just sit down, And if the priests are like, well, I guess we can allow it, I really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah. The woman approaches and begs that her baby be healed of death fever, and that it is a baby is particularly damaging to Lightsong.
I would expect that, yeah. To anyone with a soul.
Yeah, very much so. You really have to wonder how the other gods aren't. And I suppose there's nothing to suggest that the other gods aren't affected too. I don't know, we really don't get much of the other gods. I mean, we get some of Blushweaver, but of the other gods, we really do just get Lightsong's characterization of them as the bad ones because they haven't given up their life yet.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, what did the others that he liked, the female that he mentioned, why did they leave? Give theirs up?
Yeah.
Because I think it's 2 of them. Or just one, I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Calmseer, and I'm pretty sure there was another one as well. And yeah, because I remember we wondered what happened to Calmseer, and in this chapter, I think it's suggested that she gave her breath away.
Well, that's how these guys die.
Yes,
we've kind of
one of 2 ways.
That. Yeah,
I think when we first met Lightsong ages ago, now it feels, it is stated that the gods only have one deific breath. So I think you can argue that what is expressed in this chapter was set up in that chapter in a good way.
Yep.
He's watching her go, and we get the line, that meant they would get a chance to beg Lightsong to kill himself. And my first read through of that, I was a bit confused. I didn't quite understand, and I don't think we're entirely meant to understand, but I had to go back and read the preceding encounter and immediately preceding paragraph to be like, wait, did I just miss something? So I don't know if this counts as a criticism or not. It's just, it was my experience that I felt confused and had to go back instead of being in the story and going on.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having to go, that double take of, wait, what do you mean? Oh, he's really depressed. Wait, what? I enjoyed that confusion. I think it was on purpose.
I agree. And it's a cool line. So, yeah, you characterized it better than I did. There was a double take there of like, what?
It's just, yeah. And then you just go, yes, that's literally what they're doing.
Yeah. When you realize what is being asked of them, in hindsight, the line carries that much more weight.
Yeah, that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. Lightsong loses his temper and sends them all away. And the priests are confused because usually Lightsong is so amiable, but they scramble out. And eventually we get a nice little heartfelt one-on-one between Lightsong and Larimar. And in a small way, it reminded me of Calcir and Sazed in the first Mistborn book.
Yeah, there's a lot of those things with Sanderson where you feel like you've had this kind of meeting of souls before.
Yeah. I see we got to the line. So yes, the other god was Bright Hue. So Calmseer and Bright Hue. Those
are the 2 that have presumably given up there. Especially, I would think, Calmseer, because he considers that person to be a very decent god. So I would expect at least she gave up.
Yeah.
Her. I wonder if they can, because you said there's 2 different ways they could die. I wonder if they can just choose not to take breath anymore. Is that a thing?
I mean, we certainly know you can force your breath upon people if you touch them. From Vivenna.
Yeah.
I have a hard time imagining that the priests would simply let their gods die.
Yeah, especially without continuing, without replacing one, that sort of thing. Wait, I think bringing one back wouldn't create... Giving away the deific breath doesn't create a return, does it? I don't think it does.
I don't think so.
It just gives the person a life, yeah.
Yeah, it heals them or something. Larimar characterizes these petitions as giving hope to the people, the hope that Lightsong might choose one of them one day. I can understand that, but also what does it do to the people who are declined? I feel like you could make some enemies that way.
Yeah, it seems like the people that are in line are the ones that are left with hope. The people that have gone through the line and been rejected, I don't know if they're going to feel any hope.
Yeah. It feels to me like there's a limit on the amount of hope they can have with this system.
Yeah, I think with that system, you're going there with desperation. Actually, it's not sure. There's a bit of hope, but it's like this is my last resort.
Yeah, Larimar kindly offers to call off the rest of the petitions that day. I really like Larimar. I do. I'm worried.
Same.
Yeah, I'm worried at what nefarious cabal of priests manipulating the returned shenanigans he could be up to, but I do. I like him. He seems genuine and good and kind.
Yeah, could he redeem? Like maybe he's probably involved with the shenanigans, but maybe he just changes for Lightsong because he actually has a nice friendship with him or something. I don't know. I don't want to hate him.
I feel like he recognizes that deep down Lightsong is a good person. Possibly.
Maybe he is just an actual genuine believer as well.
Yeah.
Of what he's doing. He thinks this is really it. Maybe there are priests that really do believe this is how things are, and then others are just manipulating the background. He might be one of those, but he seemed really intelligent, so I'm not sure.
Right.
If he would be completely out of the loop.
As I'm scanning through the chapter for things to talk about, I note that Lightsong is pushing through red-hued rooms, and that reminds me, Lightsong's colors are red and gold, and Ciri in the later chapters, her servants are red and she wears gold.
Yeah. Are they rotating servants? That's what I was wondering. Do they, do some of the gods send their servants to the god king?
Maybe.
And they're on a certain rotation and it's part of their service, that's what I was thinking.
Idea.
With and that's why they have their colors and their colors change.
I love that idea.
We haven't. Yeah, but then again, we haven't had confirmation that the people change. It might just be the colors, and if the colors just change, then my theory messes up. We'll see. It would add to the intrigue.
Yes.
If you were trying to get a message across or something, you would need it to be a certain day when a certain god's people are on duty.
Right. Although I confess my point in bringing up this connection was more in the literary realm, more so than the practical realm.
I just wanted to bring it up because I had thought about it too, in a different way.
Nice. Love that. But what do you think it means that they are? Are they kindred spirits? Is that what the color coding is supposed to indicate, do you think?
I'm thinking kindred spirits, and also just because, remember, I associated the arrival of
Ciri with the titular burning,
yeah, with all of that. So that's what I'm thinking, that she symbolizes something herself, even though she's not wearing red, though.
Right. Do you think it's meant to indicate that Ciri is brave, that she's wearing the colors of the god of bravery?
Yes, yeah, that would work. Because she's deciding not to be scared anymore.
Oh, that is very true. Very true.
So that makes it even more beautiful, what you pointed out here.
So Larimar goes to call off the petitioners, and Lightsong broods about how no matter how hard he tries to be unimportant, people still think he's good. He reflects on Blushweaver saying he's a better man than he gives himself credit for.
Which is true. He's trying so hard to be flippant and, I don't care, but then very much does care.
Yes. I don't think he's going to pick either faction's side. I think he's going to pick Ciri's side, and that will further his Lightsong is a good man thing.
I hope so. Well, initially he's taking a side and he's just like, oh, well, that's pretty sad. Ciri's in a bad position. Oh, well, but I think it's going to come back to him actually picking her.
Yeah. Larimar comes back and Lightsong jokes about going mad, to which we get the oft-repeated mantra of you're a god, you can't do that, you can't get sick, you can't go mad.
Can't get headaches.
Yeah. It's not the same kind of repetitive Sanderson that you get in Mistborn and his earlier writings, but between the mercenaries' constant, you know what I hate about being a mercenary, and the constant, you're a god, you can't X.
Yeah,
I would like go on.
Too much.
Yeah, I would like Sanderson to pull it back just a little bit. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Like maybe 1 or 2 instances less would even be great. Like, would even work. Yeah.
Yeah. Sprinkle it in a bit, sure, but when it feels like it's happening in every scene, it's like I appreciated it the first. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wearing it out. So
yeah, the novelty is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because even at one point, Lightsong makes a comment and Larimar does not jab back, and then Lightsong criticizes him for not jabbing back.
Play with me. Yeah.
Try harder next time. But he does ask what's the point of having a god that can only heal one person and then die. And this is where Larimar drops some big lore that I was really excited. Like, I just ate this stuff up. And I have to ask myself, do I trust the source? But nevertheless, I feel like it just grants so much more clarity to what is going on here that I had wanted to know, that I was happy to hear it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's not so much that, okay, I trust everything. It's that there is something here, and there is value to knowing what they believe. So even if we don't trust them, we want to know how they make sense of this.
Right. And what it is that the return come back with a purpose, and that purpose is lost through the event of returning. And what the priests do is try to remind them of what that purpose is and or was. We get that when they are in the afterlife, they can see the future. And that had me wondering if any of these gods are anachronistic. Was Lightsong, before he died, someone from 3 centuries earlier who saw an event far in the future that he wanted to handle? Or does it, like, what's the time limit? How long ago do you have to have died before having the option of returning?
Yeah, when you return, is it like a past life kind of thing? The way that the people that talk about having had past lives, like their past life was in ancient Greece suddenly, right? And then they've returned. Yeah, so that I have no answers, it's interesting. I don't know how we found that out.
Right.
Maybe if Siri becomes returned or something. No, I have no idea how this world works right now, but I'll try my best.
Yeah. And it's weird because they don't tell these gods who they were beforehand. It's like, what if your purpose for coming back was to save the life of your loved one?
Or do they know?
Do the priests know? I don't know.
And how would they know? Do they know how would they know? So many questions.
Right, exactly. How would they know? I think they know who the person was before death, and that might inform estimates on their part. But I think they live more in the realm of the dream interpretation will tell them what they've meant to do, or what they've come back to do.
Yeah, they would definitely know. Now I'm just thinking about it because, okay, they come back. When they do return, and I'm thinking of what Suri said, that, there was someone in the village that returned. So they turn into this weird thing, this big god monster. So it would be recorded. Yeah. Okay. So they would know, but would they spend time interviewing? So we know the how. It's reported, and they go straight to the priests. They don't just keep a returned, away from the gods, which is cool. Could we get a returned that is kind of secret returned?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. So many questions. But yeah, they would know. They would know. Maybe, as you said, they wouldn't have very in-depth knowledge because, I don't know, would they kill the family of the returned? So that they like, you don't try and contact them. Can you imagine, like, your husband is returned and you want to spend time with him. You understand he can't remember, but you want to be with him, and they just kill you. I can see them doing that.
Yeah, very,
Or you
very
give
dark.
up your breath to the loved one or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And not to mention they're on a time limit. They essentially have 6 days to figure out why they've come back and take care of it. Although obviously Larimar explains that the point of their religion is to keep feeding breaths until they remember. Lightsong wonders, well, what if I don't believe in any of it? Which I really appreciated. I didn't appreciate the response. The response was fine. I don't mean to say I didn't appreciate it. I meant more like, I love that the god articulated to the priest the possibility that he himself does not believe. I think that's a juicy exchange to read about.
Yeah, we've had it thought about, but we haven't had it spoken about.
And I really wanted to see what Larimar's response would be. It was one of those convoluted, logical but illogical things, and where it's like, well,
religious-y thing.
Yeah, it's like, well, maybe you wanted to learn how to have faith all over again, kind of an answer.
Yeah, the kind of answer which is just like, find an answer and believe it. Okay, and that's it. There's no actual answer.
Yes. And then we get an exchange about the new queen. The point of the exchange was that the Council of Gods nowadays are not the ones of 20 years past, and no one there today knows why decisions were made regarding this treaty. So the queen is stirring things up just by being here.
But the God King? Wasn't the God King there?
One would think.
Yeah. But the Court of Gods, it seems like the God King doesn't do much. He's like the first generation of Khandra. Doesn't do much.
Yeah. He's there for symbolic purposes. Lightsong decides to go sit with Blushweaver at the next court assembly, and then we switch to series POV. Yeah?
Yeah. It's exhausting with Blushweaver and Lightsong, but I will get to it.
Yes, agreed. But for the time being, Ciri is still rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Not perturbed, not in shock, and not quite reveling. But I don't know what it is about tonight's recording session that all my vocabulary is just out the window. She's ruminating on the fact that the God King didn't kill her for yelling at him. And this motivates her to think that she's been going about things the wrong way, and it's time for her to stop being afraid. And this is great. I really liked this determination that she's come to. I agree. I think she thinks that something was started, that exchange, when she spoke to him in the way she did. And I agree with her. I think it is that attitude that will, I said it in the last episode, will make the God King like her. Later on, when she sees Suzebron for the first time in light of day, she has a crisis of faith comes close to the experience that she has. It gets her thinking, whoa, he really is a god. And it has me concerned, because I think the reason she was able to yell at the God King in the first place, in part, considering what we learn about Suzebron's amount of breaths, is that she wasn't getting a very good look at him in the darkness, and therefore she didn't really perceive him as deific. So I'm concerned, in light of the later chapter, that she will become demure again, because she now considers him to be so holy. Not that she thinks of him as a god still, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think because she does have, so she has that crisis when she first sees him. We'll get to it, but I think she'll revert back. I don't think it'll be that much of a problem because
I agree.
She also can't sustain it anyway. She can't sustain that amount of demure shyness. She just can't. It's not how she is. She'll be frustrated anyway.
Right.
She'll get over it.
Yeah. It is that she was able to look at him without awe first, and now she has had that experience of awe. I think you're right. I do think she'll go back to treating him like a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
Which he'll like, probably.
Hope so.
Thus we get into chapter 13.
Mm-hmm.
My summary. Vivenna determines to give away the breath. She finds it difficult not to see beauty in color. Denth informs her that it is not possible to give away breath in limited quantities, which we need to talk about that, Kitty. Don't let me forget.
Mm-hmm.
She could awaken things, but that might be an even worse option than just giving away the breath. She worries that Denth and Tonkfa's contracts have run out, but they decide that it's been transferred to her. She tells them of her intention to sneak Ciri out of Hallandren. They emphasize to her that Lemix had been embezzling money from Idris. She doesn't understand how someone could steal money from a nation they feel patriotism toward. The mercenaries had limited glimpses into Lemix's grander plots, but Vivenna orders them to uncover what they can. They ransack the home. Vivenna goes to the court assembly. Ciri is elated to be presented at the assembly. She's presented with several dress choices and asks to try several on, and she revels in the frivolity of the choice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you like to start with this chapter?
Vivenna is... she's naive compared to what she thinks she is.
Yes, and I think she's slowly coming to learn that.
Yes, yeah, which is good. She does come off a little bit arrogant still, but she does notice when her limits are reached, and I'm appreciating that. At the same time, she still has quite an ego, which fine, good. We need that.
Yes, I can understand if people do not like Vivenna. She has a very opinionated point of view, I think, on many things. And I think she makes a lot of judgments. I suppose in some ways this is meant for a later chapter, but she comes to many judgments that fit her cognitive bias, I think.
Yeah, just the way that she thinks, like, how do you, if you're patriotic, how do you steal? That it's very black and white thinking.
Yeah.
You can be greedy. And I like the dynamic with the mercenaries kind of opening her up to this kind of world. This is how the world actually works, princess, kind of thing.
Yeah, she's going to have quite an awakening about how the world works. Before we get a bit too much farther on this topic, though, apparently you can't give limited quantities of breath away. I think we had presupposed in earlier chapters that you could, and I guess we were wrong.
Yes, we did presuppose that. We wanted confirmation, and there it is. So you can't just give a couple away. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And, okay, so she sees awakening as worse, which it's like, because it's more of an abomination to her.
Right, to create life, probably. Sure.
Yeah, until she actually sees how useful it is. Come on, girl.
It's interesting to consider how valuable breath is, but now that we know you can't do limited quantities, it's like you can't use breath as money because you can't break up.
You can buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy it, but you're buying packages, essentially.
Right. So what you are getting when you get breath, I guess, is simple status symbol, the effects of the heightening, which sound like they're well worth the money in and of themselves, and the ability to awaken things.
But we've heard that from other POVs that doesn't usually go very well, or it's only a little bit of awakening. which we know with like 50 breaths, it's a little bit of an awakening. You make a little straw man and a this and a that. So maybe that's what he meant by little awakening.
Yeah. Interesting to know about. I like Denth.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've pretty much covered it earlier, but it's particularly egregious with these two and Light Song. I'm getting a little bit tired of banter.
I'm with you on that. It did get annoying, but if I'm going to compare the two, Light Song for me is more egregious, and it's
I
not
agree.
even from. It's not even from just the you can get a headache thing. You can't get a headache. Not even that. It's just the way that he speaks with everyone. Really, it's too much. Like, I'm over it. It's irritating, and maybe that also is part of the character that you want him to stop being so frivolous, so flippant, so witty all the time, and actually just be a person for a second, not just a joke generator. So he is more egregious. I find these two endearing. Their repeated bits about being a mercenary or whatever. It's very. I find it endearing. It wasn't as upsetting.
I agree. I think it is more well executed with Denth. I think in part because Denth is also more transparently helpful and well-intentioned. He's not just lamenting. There isn't a real disdain there that I think in a way Light Song has.
Yeah, he's using it as just a structure of speaking. Just a formation in which he fills in things.
Yeah. Insofar as it frustrated me in a different way than it did Light Song, it's just that I felt it's taking him too long to get to the points. I'd like him to get to the point a bit more quickly.
Yeah. But I think Vivenna does as well.
Yeah, and she snaps at him at one point in a way that I appreciated.
I think they are, because that develops. Like, eventually she's just like, oh, just get to the point. And you know what I love about that is that's showing a little bit of Ciri in her. Where Ciri did the same thing, obviously with a much bigger event, but still, it's like, and she gets upset with herself for snapping at him. Like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. But it's like, no, you be a bit more of a person.
Yeah.
Allow yourself some emotions. Don't have a tantrum, but allow yourself some emotions, please.
Yep. That said, Denth does go on his ramble about how they have decided to transfer their contract to her, or rather, they have decided that their contract has transferred from Lemix to her. He tries to advise her that, they could spend some time right now trying to figure out the breadth of Lemix's plots, which is great. That's things that they should be doing. Make your plans.
And Vivenna didn't really know exactly what she should be doing. Her plan was to follow what what's his name?
What Lemix did.
Yeah, Lemix was going to say, like, was her plan. But she's actually got these two guys as quite a resource, well, at least Denth as a resource.
Yeah.
The other guy just follows along, yeah.
Yeah. We also learned that there's a third mercenary she hasn't met yet, Jules. I'm very curious what kind of person this Jules is. I think there's some anticipation being set up for her to be quite a character.
Yes, I'm getting the idea. Maybe it's just modern sensibilities. I'm like, oh, it's a girl boss. It's a girl boss. It's an annoying girl boss coming. I don't know. I'm worried about what kind of character she's going to be, if she's going to be very abrasive. It feels like she is, because the way that the other two react to the idea of her is like, oh, you guys don't even know.
Yeah, I get the sense Tonk Fa at least really doesn't like her. I am expecting her to be personality-wise very different than Vivenna, and I'm expecting them to butt heads.
Yeah, same.
We get a lot, I forget if it's in this chapter or others as well, we get a lot of Vivenna being confused about why Lemix would need breath, or why Lemix wouldn't want Idrian bodyguards instead of mercenaries. And I look at that and I think, Vivenna, he is a spy. You understand a spy is supposed to blend in, right? And pretend, right? So there's a bit of frustration on my part for Vivenna. I think you characterized her as a bit naive earlier on. On this topic, I feel like stupid is more the word, but it is what it is. She tells Denth and Tongfa about her plan to rescue Ciri. She even says at one point, I'm willing to take her place if I must. And I'm like, is that self-serving, Vivenna? Are you really in this to rescue Ciri, or is this about you? Kind of an element.
I don't think it's, I think it's still, that is part of it, definitely. It's not all of it, but it's definitely part of it.
Yes.
Don't know how aware of it she is.
Yeah. Again, it's like I said, I think there is a tremendous amount of nuance to a lot of the characters in this book in a really wonderful way. Denth promises to consider the plan and see if he can come up with any creative solutions. This is the Mistborn rebellion, though. This is the Mistborn heist element in this book. This is the rebels.
The team up, yeah.
Yeah, which I appreciated. Sanderson loves his heists. We get one of the 5 visions. I saw men who placed themselves above others, and I saw them cast down. I think this idea has been expressed to us before. But
this is like the doctrine, the quote behind it. So they've taken that. From that, they've decided that means anybody who places themselves above others will be taken down. Therefore, don't ever place yourself above others.
Yeah. We do get that Lemix was a bit of a mastermind, puppet master type thing, or, mysterious funder behind several plots in the city.
So he was still doing his job, that's the thing. Yeah. He didn't abscond. He was still doing it, which makes me at least have some sympathy for him.
Yeah, it's not like he never did anything. Then the mercenaries let Vivenna know that Ciri's going to be presented at the court assembly that day. So while the two of them ransack the house for information and for loot, Vivenna would be best served going to the court assembly to check out Ciri.
Just the way that it comes to the idea that she's got to go to the assembly, like, it really, that was bordering on stupid. She didn't realize that this is what she's supposed to do. Like, they really had to lead her through to it, which, you know what, it makes sense. She's fine. She's naive. And she doesn't want this breath thing to be a benefit at all. But sorry, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, she's really living in this strange area at the crossroads of naivety and stupidity. It's like, I kind of got the impression you were smarter than this, Vivenna, from earlier. A little disappointed. But it's fine. To whatever degree it makes Denth more likable as some sort of guide, that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Ciri is blonde with excitement. I love that phrase. She thinks that the phrase wedding jubilation is an inappropriate name. Wonderful prose.
Yeah.
She's excited. She's determined to go about things differently here. And of course, after being cooped up, a nature lover like her is bound to be excited to get out.
She wants to go in the rain.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying Ciri thus far in this book. There's nothing that happens in this segment of the book that makes me dislike Ciri in any way.
Yeah. I think that's natural as well, just considering her age, the position she's in. Everything that she does is quite understandable as well.
Yeah, very much so. The servants present her with a bunch of dress options, and she asks to try them all on. And the way in which the serving women glance at each other after that point makes me feel like that's an uncommon request. I hope they like that she asked.
I don't know, either it's uncommon or it's common, or they're happy that they're happy for her. Well, I suppose it's not either or. It could be both of them. That, yeah, it's uncommon, but also, hey, she's taking an interest. And just as a non-girly girl that is girly sometimes, just clothes bring it out of you. They do. Dresses, it's lovely. Trying things on is great fun.
Yay. So she tries on some of the dresses. She decides to go with the color gold because the servants are red. And that's when I got to thinking about Light Song as golden red and the golden red here. And she revels in the frivolity of it, which makes you feel like, oh, she's actually probably at some point going to start enjoying being here. And particularly later when they talk about rescuing Ciri, Vivenna does, it's like, what if Ciri doesn't want to go? Did you ever consider that, Vivenna?
No, not at all. Because she's that poor girl. Look how she's dressed, and that she's dressed. Is it in this? I think it might be in this chapter. She's dressed in what she chose. She chose that dress, and her sister is acting like, oh, look what they've done to her. Look what they've put her in.
They're parading her around. Look what they can force the Idrian girl to wear.
Yeah.
The God King is even forcing her to make her hair blonde and gold to match.
Oh, when she should understand that Ciri's not very good at that anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just she'll see things as she wants to see them.
It's the cognitive bias of it.
Yeah.
It's great to read. It's a character flaw for her, but it's fun to read. Yes,
it's just the irony is great.
Yeah. But that brings us to chapter 14, yes?
Mm-hmm.
My summary is as follows. Rain falls at the court assembly. Lightsong ponders his ability as a god to influence the weather. Larimar brings up the importance of the rain. Lightsong makes his way toward Blushweaver. He complains about the weather, but Blushweaver likes it because it's different. Lightsong expressed that he bows before the whims of the universe, but Blushweaver believes in fighting it, forcing it to bow to one's own whims. Lightsong jokes about being a follower of Oster, although the Ponkal religion may be more suitable if he's looking for simplicity. As they're about to get to the point of their meeting, the Queen arrives. Ciri is carried in a chair toward the court assembly. She asks for her servants to remove the canopy for a time so she may feel the rain. She asks if she can walk in the grass, but the servants appear very uncomfortable at the prospect, so she doesn't. She's determined to have a good time. Vivenna arrives at the court assembly. She's growing used to her level of heightening. It's perverse and beautiful. She realizes that it's pointless to try and appear unobtrusive since everyone stands out. Vivenna sees a returned. She's awed by his breath, but unimpressed by his demeanor. She reminds herself that he has to steal breath to live. She sees Ciri, and despite the fact that her hair is the bright yellow of joy, Vivenna believes she must be extremely frightened. Vivenna feels determined to rescue Ciri. The final god arrives, and Ciri's dress explodes with color as the God King arrives just after.
Yeah, so been a little bit of a cliffhanger there. Like, look, he's here. He's finally here, and she's going to see him. And how is she going to react to him? And thank goodness we are reading more than one chapter at a time, because that would have killed me.
Very much so. The start of this chapter comprises of Lightsong questioning the powers of godhood. Since he does not have the power to make it rain or to stop the rain. I think that sort of calls back to our conversation earlier, Kitty, in the very first episode of Warbreaker Breakdown, where we talked about this idea of gods being more human and not necessarily being all-powerful and having domains, etc. The tenor of the conversation leans more into a lot of what you're doing is at a subconscious level dynamic. That's kind of how Larimar writes off that.
Yeah, it's all godly. It doesn't matter. the mystery of God is applied to you as well.
Yeah.
Which is pretty unique. Yeah, it's like, well, we don't know. Your ways are mysterious. You work in mysterious ways that you don't even know about.
Right. And somewhere in your subconscious, you know that the world needs rain. And therefore, even though you don't like rain, you're doing it anyway. It's sort of a convoluted thing. There's a lot of emphasis on, well, if more gods like the rain than not, and they joke about polling the gods to see who's responsible for making it rain.
Yeah, it's a collective idea.
Lightsong goes and meets with Blushweaver finally. I think you have more or less said it. There's a lot of banter that I feel is a little bit like it's just designed to prolong the scene and to show off Lightsong's disdain, which is kind of ironic because at a certain point in the conversation, he's just like, so why am I here? Just tell me. Stop beating around the bush. And it's like, sir, you could have said that from the beginning.
But yeah, he's still on a journey, okay? He's trying to figure out whether he cares or not. You know, he's trying not to care, but he actually does. Yeah.
Yeah. The first big thing to take away from this conversation, though, is the battle of ideologies between the two of them, where Lightsong believes that he's powerless before the whims of the universe. Blushweaver's belief statement is that you make the universe bow to you.
Yeah, she's fully embraced that she actually does have power. She doesn't care that she doesn't actually have influence on the rain. But yeah, she's definitely, they're ideologically opposed to each other at this point.
Yes, and between the two, taken to an extreme, Blushweaver's ideology is a fairly ruthless one, yeah?
Yeah, it's I take what I want, I get what I want.
Yeah.
Dangerous stuff.
Yep. After that point, that's where Lightsong says, okay, can we quit it with the subtext? But even that is undercut by yet another line about headaches and how you can't get them.
Yeah, exactly. It's...
I'm sorry, Mr. Sanderson, it's a bit too much.
Yeah, it's like, people don't speak this way, I can't handle it. It did get to me. But, you know, it doesn't break the book, but it does just make you go, okay, can we get on with this, please?
Yeah. But then that bridges us to the next important element of this particular conversation, which is Lightsong pretending to be a worshiper of Oster, which is interesting. The idea of the returned having or following another religion was a curious idea to me, which I enjoyed thinking about.
Yeah, and it didn't seem too like outrageous to the to Blushweaver. It was just like, oh, that's not really an interesting choice. That's it. It wasn't like, oh, how dare you, you heretic.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from Blushweaver, we learn that Pongkal is a religion. I don't think we knew that before. I think before we had just thought it was a faction, I guess, or a culture of some kind, which ultimately it is. But it is also a religion. And she says that it is a simple one.
We still don't know much about it.
Yes.
But
although Var...
just some revelation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Var...
had Pongkal dissidents. We get that they are basically Hallandren. So that's another good bit of information for us. And finally, as they are about to get to the point, Blushweaver is distracted by Ciri arriving on the scene. And that's where we switch POVs. She is being carried on a chair, and she's ecstatic to finally be out. She asks that the canopy be taken away so she can embrace the rain for a little bit. It makes the servants, a little uncomfortable, understandably. Why get the makeup and the hair and the dress wet? I get it, but it's drizzling, so it's not like raining. And this is another moment that I would love to see on screen because I bet she looks lovely.
Yeah, just full of life, beautiful, blonde with joy.
Yes.
Just peak blondness, okay? Peak joy. Yeah, just look, it'll look amazing.
Very much so. She wants to walk in the grass, and they're like, yeah.
Okay, whoa. Yeah, I love that. The way that she kind of goes, okay, whoa, never mind, okay, fine. The way she dials it back in, which is great. It's cute.
Conscientious Siri deciding, okay, yeah, I've gone too far. I won't. But I really, really hope that she will be able to in the future if she wants. Like maybe not on court assembly day, but at some point.
And I want her to. I'm scared for when she does lose her innocence completely. Like I'm enjoying her innocence here, and I'm just sad because I know that it can't last forever.
Yeah, that's true. The way the arena is set up, everyone is more or less separated from each other. And she has the thought, how is it that they can make me feel alone even when surrounded by hundreds of people? And that's a big, I think, thematic line for the book so far.
Yeah.
Again, speaking to redundancy, being important and being alone. Yeah. She marvels at the diversity of people and of color in the stands and so on. And it'll be in sharp contrast in just a moment to Vivenna's experience with this exact same crowd. But she's loving how exotic everything is. Again, she has determined essentially to be happy.
Yeah, which is it's a very strong decision to make. It's what we need that kind of attitude going forward if she is to lose her innocence.
Yeah. And then the final line of this particular POV, she notes that not all the gods are as timely as Bluefingers might like. So that was a cute line.
Yeah. Also, Bluefingers just enjoying him.
Very much so. And so Vivenna gets to the arena. She is getting used to her heightening. She is noticing how she can notice how many breaths other people have. And she's also noting how colorful everything is and how she can see it. At one point, I think it's characterized as it's like having perfect pitch, but for sight, or something to that effect, which I enjoy. This blending that Sanderson does throughout the bulk of this book of lyrical
sight and sound.
Nature. Yeah, sight and sound. And then we get this wonderful determination that she comes to. She felt dirty, perverse, particularly because the colors were just so beautiful. And she realizes that it is because they are beautiful that they are dangerous.
Yeah, it's annoying. Well, not annoying, but it makes sense from where she came from. It being beautiful is not supposed to happen. It's standing up above others. It's putting yourself above, and you will be brought low if you do that. But then it goes back to Suri's thing of if everybody has flowers, then everybody's the same.
Very much so, right? Parlin is also there with Vivenna. Vivenna realizes that there are some folks in the city. She had been worried about standing out, and she notes that there are other folks in the city who dress a bit more demurely, but the fact that they are doing so is a reaction to external vibrancy. And in that way, they stand out as well, purposefully. And
is that a sin, then? Because they're also trying to bring themselves above others and look different?
I don't know. Look, at some point, you've got to get dressed. And I think the clothes you pick out are hopefully designed to express your individuality in some way. So, I don't know. Wear what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Or go watch Devil Wears Prada, Vivenna. If you want to understand why fashion is important to people. Vivenna is again noticing the different biochromatic auras around, and at one point she sees an awakener awaken a piece of cloth, a banner or something like that, and it lifts him up to get a better sight of the surroundings and whether or not they should be moving in.
How far ahead the line goes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's useful.
Quite. And it gets her thinking about awakening, and she wonders how it works. Like, laws of physics, the cloth shouldn't be able to be rigid enough to lift him. So I liked that, noticing. Then she notices her first returned, or at least the first one she has seen since gaining the breath. She notes that he basically has like one supercharged breath. This is an idea we're already familiar with from earlier chapters.
Yeah.
She thinks it is so beautiful, but then she has to remind herself, as she notes the arrogance and dismissive nature of his posture, he is probably an asshole and that he has to take breath each week to survive.
Yeah.
She really does live in this really interesting place for me between seeing this beauty but also hating this beauty.
Yeah. She's definitely in that place with this breathing, seeing the gods, everything in this new world of hers. It's like, I don't want to like it, but it's there and it's different.
Yeah. And that's when she sees Ciri. And we've more or less discussed this already, but it's the cognitive bias, the cognitive dissonance. She sees her with the gold blonde hair and the slutty outfit, and she's like, oh my God, she's so unhappy. She's so overwhelmed. They must be forcing her to look like that and do that. It's like she's their trophy that they're parading about.
Okay, no, not exactly, but appreciate your concern.
Yeah. And even Parlin is upset, which is concerning to me for some reason.
Yeah, I think he's capable of doing something stupid.
Yeah.
With that sort of feeling.
Yeah. So she reiterates to herself that she's there to save Ciri. At which point we switch over to Ciri's POV. All of the returned have arrived. Everyone starts bowing for a moment. She thinks they're bowing to her, but no, it's the God King. And that's where it cuts off.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to chapter 15, yes?
Yes.
All right, here is my summary for chapter 15. The God King wears white. He appears to be in his 20s. Ciri bows. Lightsong does not bow until Blushweaver insists that he do so, fearful that not doing so might harm their, and I put bunny ears over there, cause.
Mm-hmm.
Ciri does not know what to make of Susebron. She does not know how to reconcile her belief in Oster with Susebron's status as a god. She speaks with Bluefingers. She tries to ask about his warning. She asks if the returned are really gods. Bluefingers is from Pongkal and does not, therefore, worship Susebron as a god. They discuss biochroma and how Susebron has what is called the Light of Peace, which is the wealth of breath inherited from previous god kings, which accumulates tens of thousands of breaths, which is quite a lot.
Mm.
Susebron has achieved the 10th heightening. Ciri has never objectively examined her own beliefs. She ponders her history lessons and what she knows about Kalad the Usurper, who created Lifeless and launched the Many War, eventually being stopped by Peacegiver. They say the Lifeless army is still out there, somewhere. Vivenna thinks things are worse than she expected. She has decided that her breath is horrible because of how wonderful it seems. Okay, so I guess that revelation comes in this chapter and not the previous one.
Mm.
But it's built upon.
I think we've overlapped a lot because it's the same. It's the same, like, happening,
Scene.
the same event. Yeah. But it's changing chapters. Like, yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, but it's fine. Now that she's seen Ciri, she turns to leave, and she sees a man of the 5th heightening staring at her with a black-hilted sword. She thinks he knows who she is. So they leave, but Parlin thought the assembly was declaring war, so they turn back. So yeah, This guy just radiates such deific energy that Ciri thinks this man is a god. That's really where I wonder how this is going to affect their encounters moving forward. I think you're right about what you said earlier, that she is going to revert back to perceiving him slightly more normally than deific status.
Yeah. Especially because of the conversation that she eventually has with it isn't Bluefingers. It is
Treladies and Bluefingers.
Yeah, Treladies, yeah.
Slightly different conversations, but not wholly dissimilar in nature.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ciri bows. The Blush Weaver scene is also very quick. Lightsong doesn't want to bow, so there's a certain rebelliousness to him. I mean, we've known this, but he's been fighting against the norms as best they can. And Blush Weaver's like, I mean, he's the king. Doesn't matter if you don't believe in him, he's still the king. The big thing we're supposed to take away from this is Lightsong's thought, our cause, one meeting and I'm already part of her plans. So
you're in.
Yeah, that is a conversation I actually did want to have with you, though. Lightsong is very concerned about his dreams, and he's not certain. He's basically scared of war in a way. He's concerned that the war will backfire because it's Hallandren that he sees burning. So what do you do in this situation? Because it's a thing that I find really, really interesting to think about, which is this. Do you, if you think Hallandren is going to burn, withhold your support of war for fear that it won't end well, and then inadvertently cause the destruction because you didn't support the war in the first place? Or do you lend your full support to the war because you fear that withholding the support is what withholds the necessary strength required to just outright win decisively, and therefore prevent the burning, but inadvertently cause the burning because you didn't have the requisite strength in the first place? Which do you choose?
Yeah. That's the thing. It's much of a muchness. Whichever one you choose is going to be wrong, or you're going to land up with the prophecy coming true in any case. That's what it's inevitable, no matter what. It's the prophecy paradox sort of thing. Paradox, both work. Yeah, where no matter what your choice is, it's going to lead to it. It's inevitable.
Yeah. It's a neat thing to think about. You get performance anxiety at that point.
Yeah. Just then you want to throw up your hands and just be like, just tell me what I'm supposed to do. Well, you're the god here. Damn it.
Then we switch back to the Ciri POV, and we learn that he basically creates color, and that's what's unique about his heightening, yeah?
He just draws it out of everything.
Yes. He's got 2 colorful coils of rope that lift him up to his place, which is,
I have a question about that.
Go on.
Yeah. Is he awakening the ropes, or are his priests awakening the ropes to lift him? I read it several times to try and figure out, and I never came to a conclusion.
It says that there is a pair of Awakener priests commanding the ropes near him. So I think it's that.
Yeah. Because he can't even awaken. I don't think he can. Because he's one big breath.
Yeah. They can only take it.
Yeah, and they are just one big breath. So if they try to awaken, they can... I suppose they could probably make lifeless. I don't know.
Yeah. Ciri notes that the God King's not going to be sitting with her. And there's a part of me that kind of wished that they were able to sit together there. A small part of me was like, oh, I hope Ciri goes up and sits next to him. That would cause one hell of a stir.
All of you. Yeah. And it would make Lightsong like her more.
Yeah, and I would argue
And
the
make
God
him
King as
like-
well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then we get the line. Now she's sort of coming down from that initial he's a god high. She thinks about Oster. Again, it kind of echoes our conversation in the first episode about the omniscient, all-powerful God. And she realizes she's never really closely examined her beliefs. That's good. I think it's always good to question your beliefs. Not to the point of anxiety, but
No.
it is good to question.
But also she's pretty young, so it makes sense. She's been out off riding horses and things like that. So I don't think she hasn't had time to do it. It hasn't been important to her. So now she's growing up. She's been put in a position where this becomes relevant, and now she's got to actually start thinking, wait, where do I stand with all of this? Everybody else seems to have a position. I don't know. I better figure that out. And I like that she asks questions about it.
Yeah. There are like 2 or 3 different points in this chapter where it's emphasized she understands how people could think as the Hallandren do. She understands how people could perceive Susebron as a god.
Mm.
So that's neat, I guess. And then Bluefingers arrives. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Bestie.
Right? Bluefingers notes the accomplishment of her display, which is good. Mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Siri begins to ask what his earlier warning was about, and he's like, shut the fuck up right now.
Yeah, jeez. I was like, what the hell, you moron?
Yeah, not a great time to do that. She does catch herself.
Yeah, we speak of her sister being naive, but that's super naive. Honey, sweetie.
Yeah, very much so. She asks Bluefingers if they are really gods, and I like Bluefingers' reaction. I think it's cute. He's like, I'm not really the right guy to ask. I'll get you a priest.
Well, I like that. What's interesting with that is that it's not this hard and fast rule that there is this answer and I must give this answer. Like there is already an established doctrine. It's surprisingly free.
Yeah.
And surprisingly personal, where I've thought that we were going to get a straight answer from the first person she asks.
Right. There's no rote answer.
Yeah. It seems to be like, what does this person think? What does that person think? And the biggest shock to me came from the Trellides. Yeah, Trellides, because I was like, I would expect him to be devout, essentially.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like Trellides at all. But Bluefingers says that he's not a follower of the Returned, even though he works in the palace, and I think it's great that they're willing to hire people that aren't followers.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that he's from Punkal. Siri has a little bit of a moment where she says, but that's the same as Hallandren. Mm-hmm. And his lips purse, and he's like, yeah, it's different. You just did a racism, but okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He knows that it's not done out of malice. It's just ignorance.
Yes. So I really did enjoy this exchange. But he does explain, I can follow him as a king and not as a god.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that we're even able to have these discussions. Like, that's the thing that I'm saying. Like, it's like Trellides is not out here going, no, you can't speak about this. Right. It's he's able to work in the palace and still do this. That's why I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Bluefingers explains what makes the God King different, how he has the light of peace, which I think is a really cool name for his tens of thousands of breath.
Mm-hmm.
He is fed 2 breaths a week instead of 1, and so his collection continues to grow and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. And he has achieved the 10th heightening, which can make light fracture around him.
As we've seen, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I forget specifically where it happens in all of this segment, but shall we talk a little bit about the mythology that we've learned?
Mm-hmm.
She starts to wonder why the royal family, her royal family, had been cast out of Hallandren. The quote-unquote official story is essentially that there were a lot of conflicts the royals didn't support, which ended up leading to or causing the Many War, the Great World War, which had been led by a guy named Kalad the Usurper. And Kalad we've been hearing as a swear, right? By Kalad's ghost or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eventually, Peacegiver had defeated him, won the Many War diplomatically. It's through all this that Ciri does understand why folks would worship the Returned. But the Chekhov's gun of it all comes in this paragraph where supposedly Kalad's armies of lifeless are still out there.
Yes.
Waiting to destroy again. And it's emphasized here, but that's just a story. No. Now that it's mentioned, they are coming back.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if that's what Vasher's aim is, to get the army.
Yeah, it would mean we need that. If there is a spare army out there, that's the only way we can kill the current lifeless or get rid of the current lifeless.
Yeah.
Because they clearly have lifeless available to them. And Ciri knows that, so she's not being mistaken and going, oh, his army is this one. She knows that they're separate things. So there's one out there and one that they currently possess, which is kind of like weird. Where did this one come from then?
Right. Probably newly created.
Yeah, I'm confused, but
yeah.
That's you. That's me usually.
And then she realizes that things in Hallandren aren't as bad as she'd been taught. So that's great. Which stands in stark contrast to the immediacy in the next POV shift, in which Vivenna thinks, oh man, things are so much worse than I'd been taught.
Yeah, you definitely very easily recognized the parallel.
Yeah. She decides that she's going to go. She saw what she wanted to see. Again, it's very foolish and short-sighted of her that she's not listening to the court assembly, trying to get a first-hand bit of information about what the politics in the city are.
Yeah, she's just like, it's arrogance again, because kind of like, oh, well, I've done here. I've seen all I need to see, which is like this attitude towards life of, wait a second, you there's always something you could learn.
Yeah. So it's not so much that I'm liking Vivenna less and less as the story goes on, but I'm certainly losing some amount of respect for her.
Yeah, I understand that it's a flaw. I like a character with a flaw.
I agree.
Doesn't mean I'm going to write her off. It's just that, yeah, I want her to hurry up and change that.
Yeah. And then she turns around and sees Vasher staring at her.
That was a surprise.
Very, quite.
Like, I knew they were going to meet, but how it happened.
Yeah, and even more surprising is her supposition that he knows who she is. I did think the description of him displaying the sword was a bit strange. I wonder if that was for a purpose on Vasher's part, or if that was Sanderson wanting to communicate beyond doubt that this is Vasher.
I think it's both, because he should be able. It would be a huge thing to leave out, as in it would be a huge thing to expose the sword just for that fact. Like the fact that he can show the sword and people notice it. That is a big deal. To use that just to make sure that we know it's Vasher, I think.
Right, because the act of pushing back the cloak to expose it is a threatening act. And so when I read that, I'm like, why is he threatening her? Because the two don't interact. And that's when I got to, well, maybe it was just to clarify who it was rather than because of that. It was a thought that passed through my mind. I don't think it matters all that much. Bonus points retroactively if Vasher is adversarial to Vivenna, though, and threatening when they do officially meet.
Yeah.
Vivenna freaks out and leaves, and then as soon as they're gone, he's like, we shouldn't have left. They're discussing war, and so they turn right back. So there was a little bit of whiplash, not unearned, but that was there as well.
Yeah, at least they did go back. I'm happy with that. Like, duh, you have to listen to this.
Yeah. But also, is there that much surprise? I mean, I know in this next chapter, Lightsong is going to be like, they are arguing much more vociferously than they have in the past. So, sure, but is it that much of a surprise, given all that we have learned, given Dedalin's choices, that they would be discussing war? I can get Ciri not knowing, but Vivenna?
Yeah. I'm not understanding. Maybe there is just surprise at how far it is. They maybe thought that this was going to happen at a later stage. Like they knew it was coming, but they thought, there would be a little bit more time.
Sure. But that brings us to chapter 16, yes?
Mm-hmm.
My summary is as follows. Lightsong listens to the arguments for and against war with Idris. Blushweaver placed plants in the audience to support her priest's arguments. Audience plants, not plants. The arguments are more fervent than Lightsong had heard in the past. Blushweaver admits she wants Lightsong's commands. Lightsong remains concerned. Blushweaver admits that all of this is about the queen. She thinks it's brilliant on Idris's part that they sent the wrong daughter. After years of studying all they could about the eldest, no one knows a thing about Ciri, and that makes her dangerous. Lightsong sees the logic and danger in Blushweaver's concerns, so he decides to speak with the queen. Ciri is alarmed to hear the priests debate war with Idris. She seeks reassurances. Treladice refers to the Adrians as rebels, but does not give a uniquely reassuring answer. He suggests if she wants to avoid war, she must conceive a child with Suzebron. She's alarmed that the priests have been watching the two of them. As Lightsong approaches, Treladice leaves. Lightsong introduces himself to the queen. He tries to determine her character and personality. He tries to be pleasant with her, but inwardly he keeps going back and forth in his assessment of her. She seems to be timid, but it could be an act. As they discuss complimenting her, and Lightsong feels she is in fact just acting timid, Ciri loses her temper and yells at Lightsong. She thinks he's making fun of her and that he should be acting more divine, not like a school child. Lightsong realizes that she is not faking anything. He doesn't know why she was sent, but it seems she's just as much a pawn of someone else's grander scheme. One even she does not know. He offers her a small bit of comfort, then leaves. I feel so ambivalent about the conversation between Lightsong and Ciri, but actually we'll get to that a little bit later, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because so much happens before it. I had a bit of a complaint about this chapter. I know Sanderson really wants to emphasize just how close the city is to declaring war.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really bothers me that he comes in at the end of the anti-war factions argumentation, and he does not give them a single substantive argument why not to go to war. I don't mind it being focused more on the pro-war side. I don't mind that there are good arguments for why they should go to war. I just don't like the absence of any good anti.
Yeah, we didn't really get anything anti. It was just, I actually think we didn't even get enough of just the arguments at all. Like they just kept talking about, the priests were arguing. So you just have this kind of sense of in the background like that, but you don't actually get the conversation, which was disappointing to me.
Yeah, and I think what particularly annoys me is that they kind of write off the person who is part of the anti-war faction as being a staunch traditionalist who frequently take the anti-position of anything being proposed. And that felt not so much like a disingenuous jab at traditionalists writ large, but it felt like it lacked such nuance of the traditionalist mindset. It felt like it was...
It's too simplistic.
Yeah.
And disingenuously so. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the other arguments, the pro-war side, gets much more economy of words in the chapter and much more of a sympathetic explanation. Not sympathetic toward war, but just more like, like there are economic reasons why we should do this. We see them as rebels. That's why we should do this. All we get is that the traditionalists aren't even really just against war. It's that they're just against anything. Like, come on, Sanderson, you're better than that.
It depends on who's proposing it.
Yeah. We carry on with the Blushweaver light song discussion. Thankfully, Blushweaver finally drops the pithy elements of the discussion, and she just flat out says, "I need your commands." And Lightsong continues at it with the pithiness. So, in a way, I do appreciate Blushweaver for being so direct.
He goes earlier on, get to the point, but then he himself gets them off track. So it's just like...
Yeah. Lightsong really does seem to be conflicted. He's taking the decision seriously.
Yeah, and it's not just a political, who's my friend, who isn't. It's like, what is this going to do to people?
Yeah. We also learn it had been 3 years since any of the gods had given their breath to save someone, and that is not great for their reputation, which is interesting.
Because it's like, well, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. So that's just another circumstance that I'm glad we have. I don't know that I have too much to say about it. They discuss the cleverness, and it's funny how we know why she was sent and what those circumstances were, and to see them refer to it as a brilliant political maneuver, it's like,
Yeah, it's a great dramatic irony.
They do consider the possibility, nay probability, nay likelihood, that Ciri will try to influence Suzebron to be pro-Idris. But, like, does Suzebron have any actual power? Because I thought it all comes down to the court assembly, or the priests.
Yeah, it's confusing. Maybe if he just takes a stand of some sort.
Yeah, I guess he would have tremendous sway.
Yeah, if he, like we said, if he decided, if same sort of thing, if the gods just decided to order people, what would happen?
Yeah, I really don't know. I guess they would have to listen to him at the end of the day.
Yeah, or then admit that he's not a god.
Yeah, or not their ruler. We get insight into Blushweaver's conviction that she does not want for Hallandren to fall the way Idris fell, back when they were Hallandren.
Okay, she's very fervent about it. I found her very, over the top about it. Oh, they're going to come in here and they're going to do... It's like, I don't see it that way, but okay. Who's made you think this way?
Yeah, that's an important question, because, again, we know from Dedalin that they don't feel very strong either. So it's like neither faction here feels particularly secure.
Who's stoking these flames?
Maybe Vasher?
Because he was presumably in Idris.
Yeah. And then that's when Lightsong decides to go talk to Ciri. And then we switch to Ciri's POV, and she asks a servant what they were discussing, because she can't believe it. And the servant goes and gets Trelladis, which dismays Ciri in a very cute way.
It's like, wait, you were supposed to just say, it's all right, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think I still don't like Treladies, but I thought he was a bit more tolerable this particular conversation than past ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
He tells the vessel that they were arguing about whether or not to attack the rebel province, which confuses Ciri. And she's like, you rebelled against us.
I mean, it's a point. Yeah, like, we ran away from you guys. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And she tries to offer an olive branch. So I really do enjoy this conversation quite a lot. I get your point of view, but I don't see the point. You got what you wanted. Treladies tries to underplay it, which, like, he's the only one underplaying it. Everyone else is like, oh my god, it's so much more fervent. It's getting worse. But he's like, nah, it's probably nothing. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's what makes it at least a little bit more tolerable from him.
Yeah. And then he explains that they've been watching the nightly encounters.
Ooh, yeah, like, we know you're not busy.
So much for the lie that it's been working.
She's like, oh, damn. Well, I guess that's what it's not all as it seems. That could be the message.
Maybe.
Like, we know you're not doing it. Your lie is not helping. Is not actually believed. Yeah.
Treladies really emphasizes, you want to help your people? Have a child. That's like, do it. Just do it.
Just the whole point. Just do it. Yeah.
And Ciri rightfully, finally says, what more can I do? I can't speak to him. I can't move. He's got the power here.
Yeah, sorry. He's the one that doesn't want to do anything. Like, I'm there. You guys have violated me by putting me there. I've actually accepted it. The least he could do is do his part. Yes, the cheek.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that Treladies hears it. Because, like, it sure as hell isn't for lack of trying on her part. And then he's like, well, you're a woman. Figure it out. You have options.
And we've got Ciri thinking that, Vivenna would know what to do, and I don't think Vivenna would know that. She's very stuck up.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it, but I do not think Vivenna would do well. I think she would demand Idrian-style clothing, for one thing, and then the servants would be like, no, queen?
How's bad no?
Yeah. And then I think that in the encounters, she would more or less do what Ciri did, which is to say she would stay in position all night. And I don't think she would ever look him in the eye or say anything, which I think you and I both feel is what will work out for her in the end.
Yeah.
So by that logic, the God King would not become attracted to Vivenna.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, so I did enjoy this conversation as much as I dislike Treladies. He even says, hey, not everything in Hallandren as cohesive as it may appear at first. And that's like a big reveal to Ciri, I think.
Admission, yeah.
Yeah. There was a specific line Treladies says, give the God King's priesthood what we desire, and your rebels will earn our appreciation. Not give the God King what he desires, give the priesthood. So that really sets up the priesthood as its own faction at play here. It's not just the Returned faction. It's not just Susebron's faction or Lightsong's faction. It is the priesthood faction.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the way they would have you see it. And that's kind of like a slip-up kind of thing.
I agree.
But an arrogant slip-up, a kind of like, well, nobody really would question it.
Yep. At that point, Lightsong approaches, so Treladies leaves. He frowns and says, we'll talk about this later, but it makes me wonder about the power dynamic between Lightsong, a Returned, and Treladies, the leader of Susebron's priesthood.
Yeah. So much politicking to go through.
Yeah, would Lightsong have to wait for Ciri to finish talking with Treladies, or could Treladies command Lightsong? I mean, it seems like Lightsong's commanded by his own priests, so it feels like any of the priests can tell him.
Again, it seems like the priests can do whatever they want. That's what I'm saying, like this weird thing that the priests don't necessarily command, but they still influence in such a weird, insidious way.
Yes. So this conversation between Lightsong and Ciri is the one that I kept coming back to this week. I read it several times.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, I'm ambivalent about it. One, I like it so much, more for Ciri's part in it than Lightsong's. I like that we get it from Lightsong's POV, and in a way, it feels as if I'm reading it from Ciri's POV. And what I mean by that is, I feel like I know Ciri so well this far into the book that I can intuit what she's thinking at any given moment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that's what fascinates me about this encounter and why I like it so much and why I kept coming back. I kept coming back to it for Ciri, not so much Lightsong. Because, as we both have emphasized so much this episode, the Lightsong words, lines, it's just not doing much for me anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, get over yourself now. Stop it. Be a man.
Yes. He does bring up the word redundant, which seems appropriate for the themes.
Yes.
He does realize that he's probably the first returned she's met and chastises himself for leaving a bad first impression.
Nice of him to think that way.
Yeah.
Still not great for him to have done it, but at least he's self-aware.
Yeah. He introduces himself essentially twice. The second time with his name. And he notes her hesitancy. And again, I feel like we could be in Ciri's POV here. She's probably thinking something like, what's the protocol here? It's probably best I just be polite right now.
And then she loses it.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts of the book so far.
Mm-hmm.
He's evaluating her, trying to figure out if she's acting or if she hasn't been trained for formal situations, which he deems unlikely, which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the Idrians send someone so untrained?
Yeah, it's so obvious. He does say several times that it's like, okay, she would be a really great actress then. But there's just so much doubt behind all of that it's just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's very hard to believe that this was on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, for the purpose that Blush Weaver thinks.
Yeah. We get that he's afraid to close his eyes because he'll see visions of burning and destruction again. So it's heavily emphasized just how much that stuff is weighing on him.
Yeah.
Even if they aren't prophetic, they speak to his own psychology. We get Ciri's line, might I inquire as to the nature of your visitation? Again, it's so formal.
So cute.
Yeah, she does not want to faux pas. Lightsong wonders at that point if she is in fact genuine. I like the sort of lyrical nature of this particular line. The nature of his visit has no nature other than to appear natural, which has failed.
He's just a bit too quick for her, though, because she's so confused right now that she can't really have a good time with him. I'm hoping that they can, at some point,
like
exchange words, and she can be herself with him. And I think that actually would be entertaining.
I agree 100%. I think the dialogue about the grape was not great. Didn't love it. And are grapes hard and dry on the outside? That was kind of a weird way to describe the skin of a grape. I'm not saying they aren't dry, but
Harder than they are on the inside, I suppose.
I
That's
guess.
the point.
But aren't these grapes peeled? Weren't they peeled in the earlier chapter?
Yeah, exactly.
Lightsong does characterize Suzebron as moping around, which is interesting. It makes me wonder how accurate that assessment is. And then we get the exchange. I think it's supposed to mirror Blushweaver's flirtatious compliment discussion earlier. Siri thanks Lightsong for complimenting her. Us looking in, it's like, oh, she just doesn't know what to say at this point, and she's afraid and trying to be polite. Lightsong offers to compliment her more, at which point she goes silent, and Lightsong thinks that Blushweaver was right and that he shouldn't have come. My first read through, I was a little bit confused by that line, but I thought it was directed more at him determining that she's a plant, like a political person rather than
maneuver.
Yeah. But no, I think it's just that he realizes that this encounter is awkward. But that's when Siri, her hair turning red, loved that description and what it means, starts yelling at him.
Yeah, because she's just frustrated with not understanding what he's about. What are you trying to do? What's your angle here? I don't know how to deal with you.
Yep. And I'm sorry, Lightsong's responses just are not syncing up for me.
They're not helpful.
And they're not helpful as well either. So like just talk like a normal person for a little bit. Please.
Just for a sec. Just have a conversation. You don't have to make a joke out of absolutely everything.
Yeah. And I don't have too much to say on the specifics of this portion of the conversation. I liked it better than the grape lines earlier.
Yeah.
Mirth Giver isn't funny, I guess. But the result of it is that Lightsong believes that Siri is a genuine person. He doesn't think she was sent for mundane reasons, but whatever plot she's a part of, it is one that she is unaware of. He offers her a small comfort and then takes off.
Yeah, which is basically, he's like, good luck, kid, essentially.
Yeah. Try not to let them bother you too much. It's like, oh yeah, that's helpful. I don't think Blushweaver will believe Lightsong.
Yeah, conspiracy Blushweaver. She's going to be like, no, it's just extra. They're bluffing.
It's an act. How can you fall for it? And then that brings us to chapter 17.
Chapter 17!
Vivenna goes back to Lemix's home. She realizes all her training had not been nearly as adequate as she'd been led to believe. The mercenaries have absolutely ransacked the home, but they found a considerable amount of gold in the process. They found letters and correspondence, including ones made to Dedalin, and from Dedalin. In one of those letters, Dedalin confesses his inability or unwillingness to send Vivenna because of his paternal love for her. Vivenna wants to rage, but she controls herself, and she ruminates on how her view of her father has changed in light of the knowledge that he is a man willing to kill one daughter to save the other. She redetermines to save Siri. Speaking with the mercenaries, she explains that Lemix had been loyal to Idris and had been plotting to undermine the war which he was certain would come. Vivenna intends to continue his work as well as save Siri. Denth intends to piece together what information he'd passively picked up and reveals that Lemix helped instigate Var's rebellion. Denth instructs Vivenna to gather what she needs before they burn the home. So a lot of this we've alluded to or briefly discussed before, yeah?
Yeah.
I guess Vasher did not follow Vivenna and didn't bother Vivenna after they returned to the court assembly. There was that is kind of dropped, and she doesn't even, I think about him at all in this chapter.
Yeah, it's just a strange thing that happened because they're in the city.
Yeah. Vivenna tries to figure out how much time they have before war is declared. She thinks it is almost certainly going to happen, though.
Yeah. I think that this has been really throwing at us, hey, by the way, the war is coming.
Very much so. And it's gonna happen. There's no way at this point it doesn't, as me reading it. It really does sink in this chapter how little she knows and how little she's been prepared. I'm glad she's coming to realize it.
Yeah, and it isn't through a lack of trying. It's just that this is a much bigger problem. And, it makes me just even more angry at the father, because it's just like, yeah, okay, you've kind of prepared her, but you've not let her know any of this.
Agreed. Vivenna is surprised by how destroyed the home is, but there it is. They're back.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of dialogue and description to explain why they went to such great lengths to search the place. Like they were looking indoors and in chair feet.
I'm with them on it. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. We're getting more of that Denth and Tonkfa dynamic, which is fine.
I think I'll take back my criticism for this particular kind of repetition, because I do find it entertaining. It's really, really just the light song stuff that it's egregious.
I agree. I think the Merc stuff is substantively different. It feels like they are close in nature. So it's more forgivable here, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Vivenna does think she's coming to like the two of them, though, so that's nice. And she starts looking through the letters. We gain access to one specific letter, and I have a handful of problems with it.
Okay.
But first, what did you think of it?
I've just my main takeaway was just how Vivenna really does realize that her father was sending her sister to die, essentially. And that was my main thing that I focused on for Vivenna, from Vivenna's point of view. Another thing that I got was the mercenaries had read those letters. They gave her the idea that they hadn't, and they didn't know anything, but they're giving her the letters so she can come to her own conclusions, and they help her get to the conclusion they want her to. I do want to know why they give a damn about her. Is it because she's pretty or whatever? But I like them too.
Yeah. Okay, so where to begin with the letter?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the big thing is, Dedalin, what the hell are you doing sending this kind of information so transparently in a letter to your spy in enemy territory? What if that letter is taken? What if it's stolen? What if it's lost in the mail? What if literally anyone sees it? What are you doing pouring your heart out to the...
He's desperate.
I just think it's a terrible move on his part.
It's not smart. Yeah.
It's not a smart letter to send. Even if Lemix is trustworthy beyond doubt, it's more like, what if something happens to Lemix? It is here in writing that the king is thinking about going against the treaty. Like, if any priest or returned saw that, this letter is a declaration of war. By all accounts.
Yeah, true.
I think there is a timeline issue with regard to him talking about the weakness in himself, contemplating whether or not to send Vivenna.
I think it makes sense that he's been thinking of that for a while. It wasn't just on the day that we encountered him.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like something like that would eat at him all the time until he made the decision.
Yeah.
That's why that's why it was like days away, and he made the decision to send Suri instead.
I suppose. I mean, yeah. Okay, I can believe that it's been weighing on him for a long time. It feels like that segment was put in there more for Vivenna's sake and character growth on Sanderson's part than because it's anything that a king would send in a letter to a spy in an enemy nation.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what bothers me. And Again, it kind of bothered me, the serendipity of Lemix dying in the first place on the day that she arrives in the city. So
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if that is some sort of string being pulled in terms of Lemix, but there is the sense that this kingdom, these nobles, are more casual with their people and they're closer to them. So he does consider this is not just a spy to him. This is his friend. This is his dearest. Sure. You know, that does make it seem that he would share his feelings. Yes, it wouldn't be very smart, but I think this is a friend of his. It's not just an employee.
I guess. Yet here we are.
Mm-hmm.
She controls herself despite wanting to throw a tantrum, which is great. She is and remains a very controlled person. She repeats the mantra of it not being good to draw attention to oneself or set oneself above others. She's living with the realization that her father is not a perfect man, which is a very big thing that all people go through. Again, there is such complexity to what many of the characters in this book go through that I really do enjoy. She characterizes her father's decision as being willing to kill Ciri to save Vivenna, and that makes Vivenna very uncomfortable.
As it should.
Yeah. And that is, as far as Daedalin is aware, what happened. Sophie's choice. I guess.
Although it seemed really easy for him.
Too easy is what the problem is.
Actually, I haven't seen Sophie's Choice or read it or whatever it is, but I know how people use it in conversation.
It's a movie worth checking out at some point.
Yeah, so at least I can understand fully the reference.
So Vivenna comes to the realization that Lemix was loyal to Idris, so she is starting to understand how a person can do the questionable things he does and still be loyal. Her black and white world just became a bit more gray.
Yeah, exactly. She's realizing her father's not perfect. She's realizing people aren't just one note, good or bad. So, and at the same time, literary prettiness is she's seeing more nuance in the world. She's seeing different colors. It's not red is red anymore. There's several different shades. So
I like that.
Hues. Yeah. So she's actually seeing that. She's doing that in a different way psychologically.
Yes. Excellent. At that point, this is like the start of, this is a heist group.
The quest.
Yes. She addresses the mercenaries and is like, all right, we have a roadmap. We have Lemix's general ideas. We are going to fulfill those plots. We are going to tear down Hallandren. Death by 1,000 cuts type of a thing. And Denth is like, all right, we'll start rounding up Var's remaining rebellious types.
And she's really surprised at how they're like, because they were complaining, but then they're like, cool. they ready to go. She's like, oh, okay. But I thought it was impossible. But that same sort of, it's weird because we get that from like the Calcia sort of, Calcia is the one that pushes everybody into doing the impossible. These guys are like the crew. They already accept that they do difficult things, but they know they're worth doing. So they continue.
Right.
I just want to know why these mercenaries are so good. But I guess, they would say to me, I'm just judging them because they're mercenaries.
Right. And then they decide they need to get a new home because Lemix is dead.
Mm-hmm. Liability. He's got enemies.
Yeah. By and large, I enjoyed this segment. I do think we had our fair share of criticisms of it, but I'm enjoying the story. There are a lot of characters in it that I think are very likable, and I still enjoy the world and the magic so far.
Yeah, loving it. And the intrigue, just the usual Sanderson-iness of it.
Yep. Anything else to say, Kitty?
Like the video.
If you like, it would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
You know what's a great channel? This one. So subscribe.
It would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.